Well, we're back with Kenny and Louise Blacksmith, who are from the Cree Nation, and both of you have made big changes to make a difference in your lives to improve conditions. Kenny, I want you to take us back to a trapline experience you had where you started to say, there's something spiritual I can do about my life to improve my conditions. What happened?
I was having tea in the bush and by this little creek. It was in the winter time, and it was beautiful, beautiful morning. The fresh snowfall and just the sun shining on fresh snowfall was like diamonds all over, just glistening. And then I was having my tea, and then all of a sudden this anger started to rise up in me, saying, "There's no God," you know. And then I had this experience where I actually felt the presence of someone, and I heard a voice say to me, "Were you there when I created everything from the very beginning?" And I said, and I was startled because I was all alone in a bush, you know. And so I had this encounter, I believe, with God. And he brought me to a place where I suddenly knew who he was. And really, that was an encounter that I remembered very closely. And it affected my whole way of thinking and my whole way of life. And it brought me to love God and to honor God.
Louise, you had a different experience with what some people might say was the white man's God. We're all talking about the same creator here. You actually, for 23 years, unaware that you'd been moving on a vision you'd gotten earlier, translated the gospel, the whole Bible, into Cree. How did that affect your understanding of what Jesus was for your people?
Well, it was very life-changing. It was a life-changing experience. I had a dream, and in the dream, I was given a silver platter, and on the platter there was a scroll, and I heard a voice say, "Open the scroll." And when I opened the scroll, there was writing on the scroll that I didn't recognize. And I had this dream years before we actually started the Bible translation work. And it wasn't until we actually completed the Bible translation that I realized that the dream I had been given many years before, this was it. It was a prophetic dream that I'd had, and I hadn't realized it at the time that this was going to be the work I'd be doing.
And so we have the Cree Bible now because you led it. Kenny, you joined the work. Other Cree people joined in translating this. And I find it very interesting. Then it was you who led a response to the Prime Minister's apology. Tell us about the Charter of Forgiveness you gave back to us as Canadians. 2010, just last year.
2010, and we bought a copy here to show. Just gonna hold it there for a sec. But this is the Charter of Forgiveness and Freedom. This was, it came about after about 300 pastors, both Inuit and First Nation and Métis, got together in Ottawa in 2006. And we came together and we prayed and we talked and we said, you know, life wasn't all that great before the white man came, and so we said we committed murder. We had all these broken covenants, broken treaties among ourselves. We did whatever God did not want us to do, and so we repented to each other. So the covenant of the first peoples of Canada was the original peoples of the land repenting to each other, saying, "We forgive. Will you forgive me for what I did?" As a Cree to the Inuit people, or the Métis to to First Nation, or even Inuit to Inuit. We forgave one another. We recognized that we did wrong, and so we wanted to make things right with ourselves and make things right with God. And the covenant of the first peoples of Canada was signed by those people. That led, I believe, the change in the relationships in Canada, where the Prime Minister apologized for the profound historic failures of the government on our people, especially in the University School.
So would you say we are at a very historic moment again, then, with this crisis of Attawapiskat blowing wide open?
Very much so, because many people, many of First Nation peoples, first of all, did not believe that we could actually accept the apology, and although they longed to hear an apology, they acknowledged an apology was done, but they could not respond to the forgiveness because of the continued atrocities and what failures and what have you. So now, the Prime Minister coming on and enforcing a third party on Attawapiskat and all these issues coming up today, people are saying, what was the apology for?
Okay, we're going to be back with concluding thoughts with both of you. Kenny, you have been 11 years, you're both residential school survivors. Kenny, you were 11 years taken forcefully from your home. And here you sit with a charter of forgiveness for our country, saying, careful, we are in new grounds of understanding each other. Okay, coming up with those thoughts after this. All right, well, we're back with concluding thoughts with Louise and Chief Kenny Blacksmith about the Aboriginal housing crisis. You know, there's going to be a lot of harsh words spoken back and forth between different stakeholders on this debate. What is it that makes reconciliation and progress possible?
Well, I think we have to learn to trust each other. You know, when the government sends a third party into a community, it doesn't help. If you sit down together at the same table and be able to discuss things openly and really have a heart to change things, we can make changes. And especially if we believe that, the God of, the one that created all of Canada is the same God that we all serve, I think people will learn to trust in God and trust that He is able, and more than able, to make things right between ourselves. I think we can begin to see more healing. The root issue is longer than the first Prime Minister of Canada saying that we're going to assimilate First Nation peoples, we're going to do away with the Indian, we're going to kill the child in the Indian. I mean, this goes deeper, much deeper. We need to come back to the God of all creation, to the God of love, the God of mercy, the one that can enable us to forgive. The Charter is a beginning, and I believe it's the foundation for the healing and the restoration of our people.
All right. Louise and Kenny Blacksmith, thank you very much for bringing us your perspective today. Thank you. Well, for the team at Context, I'm Lorna Duick. Thanks for watching.